Hi, Radiant Kids. It's me, Mrs. Rayanna. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I want you guys to know I really miss seeing you at church, and I'm thankful that we have this opportunity to share some time together today. So we are going to sing a couple of songs. We're going to watch a really cool science experiment with Mr. Gary, and I'm going to read you guys a story. So stay tuned. Okay, friends, we are excited to sing a couple of songs with you this morning. I've got John, Naomi, Simeon, and Elizabeth, my kids, here to help me. I want all of you to stand up on your feet, and we're going to do some actions and singing. So stand up, everybody. Let's get ready to sing one of our favorite songs, the Lion Song. Here we go. Are you guys ready?
34:10.
This comes straight from Psalm 34:10.
Psalm 34:10. Here we go.
The lions may grow weak and hungry. The lions may grow weak and hungry. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. The lions may grow weak and hungry. The lions may grow weak and hungry. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord.
Yes.
All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. The lions may grow weak and hungry. The lions may grow weak and hungry. The lions may grow weak and hungry, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord. All things work together for the good of those who love the Lord.
I like that song now.
Me too.
34:10. 34:10.
Awesome. Guys, we've got one more song for you, and we are excited to share this one with you. It's called Do Not Be Anxious. I know the kids in K-2 have learned this one already, and this is such a good reminder for us on some of these days when we don't know what's going on, and it's easy for our hearts to start feeling anxious about things. But this song reminds us, in this verse in the Bible, that God has told us to not be anxious because he's always with us. So let's sing it together, okay? Here we go. Philippians 4:6-7. Philippians 4:6-7. Philippians. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:6-7. Philippians By prayer and petition, thanksgiving, present your request to God. 6, 7. Dance for me, Cindy. You can dance. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You got the groups.
Oh yeah. Nice moves, guys. Thanks for singing with us.
Yay!
Goodbye.
Hi everyone. Today we're going to do science experiments with a purpose. So before I start, I want to read to you guys a passage from the Bible. And it is from Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. And it says, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God." All right, so today I'm joined by my two lovely assistants, Noah and Chloe. If you guys want to come. All right. This is my son, Noah, and this is my daughter, Chloe. And so when Daddy read the passage, we talk about things that hinder us from running the race, okay? So what are some things that hinder us? What are some sins that people do or Gossiping, okay? I want you to write that down on your orange with a pen and just, you can just write it on the skin, yeah? And then Chloe, what are some things that hinder us? Or can you think of some examples?
When Jesus loved us.
Yeah. So what, even though God loves us, what are some things that people do that we do wrong? Like Noah said, like gossiping, or what about, any ideas?
No.
What about like
They
putting other things before God?
also is talked about what showed them butted up. Butted up is dead, and butted down is not dead.
Okay, so we can think of some things like greed, gossiping, or we can think of jealousy, right? Jealousy. So those kind of things hinder us from God. Worshipping idols, yeah. Putting other things before God, right?
And saying one says when it's idol.
Yeah, okay. So Noah wrote down things like gossiping and worshipping idols, and we put down greed and jealousy. Okay, so Noah and Chloe, now I want you to take your orange, okay? And now we're going to run a race, okay? So I want to see who can get their orange to the bottom. The race is to get your orange to the bottom. So I want you to just put your hand over the water and then let go. Oh, but you can't. Your orange can't get to the bottom. Right? Why can't it get to the bottom?
Why it's floating.
Yeah, it's floating, right? So some of these things, yeah, there's air in the skin of the orange, and it's that represents all the things that hinder us, right? So let's go take this out, and I'm gonna wipe this off. And now we're gonna do what we're going to do is I want you to peel off the orange. Okay? Peel off the orange. So you can take the skin off the orange. Yeah, good job.
Do you like the inside? You like to eat it.
No, we're not going to eat it just yet. And we're going to take off the skin.
I could eat this whole orange.
Yeah. All right. So you're taking off the skin. I'm also going to do it and we want to be transparent with God. So we're all even going to take out like the little stuff in there.
No, that's
So I'm going to
That's totally
I'm going to take that out. Good job. So we've taken off all the things that hinder us, right? Like greed, worshiping other idols, and and gossiping and things like that. And now, Noah and Chloe, I want you to take your orange and drop it. And let's see what happens. It sank. It got to the bottom. It was able to run the race to the end because it removed the things that hindered us. So when we remove the things that hinder us, we can draw close to God and run the race well. Okay, so I hope you learned something from today's science experiment, and I'll see you next time on Experiments with a Purpose.
I would like to read you guys a story. I've changed into my comfy story reading clothes so that I'm all ready for this. Do you know what's happening 2 weeks from this Sunday? It's Easter. So this book is going to go over for us why Easter happened. Why did Jesus come and die for us on the cross? The book is called The Garden, the Curtain, and the Cross, and it's written by Carl Lafferton. A very long time ago, right here in this world, there was a garden. In the garden, everything was wonderful. The world was full of laughing and playing and smiling and fun. There was nothing bad, ever. There was no one sad, ever. And best of all, God was there. He had made it all. He was in charge of it all. He loved it all. People could see God and speak to God and just enjoy being with God. It was wonderful to live with God. But then, one day, the people did a terrible thing. They decided they didn't want to do what God said. They decided they wanted a world without God in charge. God calls this sin. Sin spoils things. So sin has no place in God's wonderful garden. God said to the people, "You can't live with me in my garden anymore." And he sent them outside. To show the people they had to stay outside, God put some warrior angels in front of the garden. The angels were like a big "keep out" sign. Now things were sometimes bad, and people were sometimes sad. But people still kept sinning because they didn't want God to be in charge. So no one could come into God's wonderful place. God said, "Because of your sin, you can't come in." God wanted people to remember, it is wonderful to live with him, but because of your sin, you can't come in. So he told the people to build a special building called his temple where he would live. In the middle of the temple was the most wonderful place in the world, the place where God was, with nothing bad and nothing sad. It was very exciting. But then God told people to put a big curtain around this wonderful place. The curtain had pictures of warrior angels on it. It was a big "keep out" sign. For hundreds of years, the temple curtain reminded people that God said, "It is wonderful to live with him, but because of your sin, you can't come in." Babies became grown-ups and had babies, and those babies became grown-ups and had babies, and those babies became grown-ups and had babies. Hundreds of summers and winters passed by, and the "keep out" curtain stayed in the temple. Then, one day, God's Son came to live in this world as a person. He was called Jesus. Jesus always did what God said. Jesus never sinned. And Jesus visited the temple where the "keep out" curtain was hanging. Jesus knew that things were sometimes bad and sometimes sad. Jesus said that God had sent him to open the way back to God's wonderful place, where there would be nothing bad and no one sad. But people still didn't want to let God be in charge.
so they decided to put Jesus on a cross to die. It was the most bad thing that had ever happened. It was the most sad day of all time, but Jesus had a plan. He had always planned to die on the cross. What a strange plan. Why would God's Son plan to die? On the cross, Jesus took our sin, all the bad things we do, and all the sad things they cause. Jesus took them all from us. And when he did, something amazing, astonishing, astounding happened. The curtain tore. God had ripped up the keep out sign. God's wonderful place is open again. Because Jesus died, we can go in. After Jesus died, his friends put him in a tomb. They were very sad. For 2 days, nothing happened. Then, the next morning, Jesus' friends went to see his body in the tomb, and it wasn't there. A little later on, Jesus' friends were all together, and suddenly, Jesus was there, alive. Suddenly, his friends weren't sad. Now they were so happy. God had brought Jesus back to life so that he could live in God's wonderful place forever. And Jesus has sent everyone an invitation to come and live with him there too. He tells us, God says it is wonderful to live with him. Because of your sin, you can't come in. But I died on the cross to take your sin, so all my friends can now come in. We can live with God forever. There will be nothing bad and no one sad. We will see God and speak to God and just enjoy being with God, just as he planned. It will be wonderful to live with him, and it's all because of Jesus. We will say every day, thank you, Jesus, you're amazing. And you can start saying that today. That's the end of this story. Friends, I'm so thankful that you came and joined me here today. I hope that you really enjoyed it. I want to challenge you this week. I would like you to draw me a picture or write me a note and have your parents send it to me at Raeanna, RAEANNA, at mtnview.org. I'm going to keep track of all of the things that come in, and next week I'll either show you some of the pictures and I'll also keep a tally of who's sending me things, and when we see you again, when we're all back together someday, I'll make sure and have some prizes for you as well, okay? Have a great week, you guys. I miss you.